Hi guys, it's Jessica Hayes. Today I have filmed for you my foundation tutorial. It's actually taken me a really long time to get to this point where I'm finally happy with my foundation routine. Back in September, I switched over to cruelty-free only beauty products. So since then, I have been kind of on the hunt to find the perfect foundation combination for me. Not only that, but my skin has been acting up like crazy lately, and finally it's just gotten back on track to where I feel like the foundation that I've chosen hasn't been making me break out. So now that I'm finally happy with my routine and how it is on my skin, I am going to be sharing with you guys how I do this step by step, so keep watching if you would like to learn how. I always start my day off with a moisturizing SPF when I wake up, but for underneath makeup I have been using this Marc Jacobs coconut primer and I absolutely love it. I really haven't had much luck with primers in my past. I've just found that really they don't do enough for me to waste that extra step in my makeup. But I have been using this lately and noticed that my skin actually is so much more dewy and lively underneath my foundation. Sometimes primers have actually made my foundation come off quicker than usual. Usually when I first get a primer, I actually test it on one side of my face and leave the other side without so that I can see if I actually notice a difference. So just popping that all over the face. This right here is a Furless Cosmetics foundation buffer brush. This is what I've been using lately for my foundation as well. So the foundation that I eventually fell in love with is the Hourglass Veil foundation. I usually start off with like 1.5 pumps all over the face. This does have a medium coverage, medium buildable coverage. If you do put it on with a beauty blender though, you can do it a little more sheer as well with that. But I've been noticing that, you know, my skin's, it's not the greatest, it's not in the greatest shape that it's ever been. So I have been opting for foundations with a little more coverage. So just buffing that into the skin. I have been wanting to try this foundation for so long. I believe that in Australia this foundation is close to $90, I want to say. So obviously I wasn't really that pumped to be splurging almost $100 for a foundation, so I just never tried it. And then finally I got a foundation sample at Sephora and ended up really liking it and buying it full price, thinking, you know, I'll try it for a week or two and see if I like it, and then maybe I'll return it. Basically hoping that I wouldn't fall in love with it and I could find a cheaper foundation to fall in love with. But unfortunately I did. So buffing that into the skin with foundation, it's best to start in the center of the face and then just buff it outwards, because for majority of people the concerns that we need to cover up with are generally in the center of the face. So if we kind of start in the center and blend outwards, that helps with stopping the hideous line of makeup on the jawline, which we do not want. So concealer wise, I still haven't found the holy grail, but I am happy right now with the Urban Decay Naked Skin concealer. The only thing that I wish is that it wasn't like a dry kind of more powdery finish, but I guess that's probably what keeps it on and stops it from creasing. It's like concealer is, you know, it's either too emollient and goes into your fine lines, or it's not emollient enough and stays on really well, but it can make you look a little more dry in that area. It's really hard to find a concealer that I'm 100% happy with, but this one is pretty good so far. And this little guy right here is the Furless Cosmetics Concealer Brush. I like it because it's kind of the size of your finger, so it's just good for patting up underneath the eye area. I've tried a bunch of new concealers lately. The It Bye Bye Under Eye, the Tarte Marula Creaseless Concealer as well. And I do like those concealers. They are good for underneath the eye, but I like to pop my concealer above the eye, and I've just found that they're way too creasy for the top of the eye. And it would be great to use one underneath and then a different one on the top, but ain't nobody got time for that. So now my eye concealer's done, I'm just going to use a little bit on my friends that I have on my face right here. So before, when I used to conceal my blemishes, I loved using MAC Studio Fix, but recently I just switched to all cruelty-free beauty products. So if any of you have any recommendations of a cream concealer that is more full coverage, that is cruelty-free, please leave those recommendations below. But for right now, this Urban Decay concealer is doing just fine for my blemishes. If anything, I did get a little bit of a lighter color for underneath the eye, so it's probably just a smidge too light for my blemishes, but we make it work. Oh, my eyeball is so red. I did a really bad thing. I forgot that I was wearing contact lenses and I slept in them last night. That's why my eyeballs look like I've been zombified. All right, so that is foundation and concealer done. I have been known to skip the powder stage just because I really love that dewy finish. Recently, I was at Stephanie Strazzeri's house and she has this. She let me borrow it, and of course I fell in love. This is really good just to set your foundation lightly but not take away any of that glow. So basically, I've just been using a little bit, just lightly dusted over my face and putting it in the cheek area, because sometimes if you don't properly set that cheek area and you go to put your contour or blush highlighter on, sometimes it can get like a little bit grabby in that area. So it is nice to just kind of have that smooth powdery finish so your powder products have something to, you know, glide onto. So that is my base done. I'm just going to finish off with a little bit of cheeks. I've been obsessed with this Illamasqua Sculpting Duo for quite some time now. I feel like the bronzing color in it is a nice contour color for me without being too orange, too red, or too ashy. I also really like Illamasqua Hollow Cream pigment for a cream contour as well. That one is more of a taupey color, so it's good if you don't really want any color at all on the cheeks. Just a very light contour for me. I don't like to go overboard on the contouring business. I'm just gonna apply a little bit of the Makeup Geek Spellbound. And before I forget, this is the Smith 118 brush. I use this for blush, highlight, and contour. So a little bit of the Makeup Geek Spellbound just on the apples of the cheeks and dusted back into the contour. Then one of my favorite highlighters, this is a Dose of Colors Pearl Dust. This is a great highlight color if you want just more of a soft shimmer without that goldy undertone. Love that highlight. I found that if you do your concealer, let it settle and then just kind of press it in a little bit, then usually it doesn't recrease underneath the eyes. Sometimes, not all the time, but if I am having a long night or day, I will use the Urban Decay makeup setting spray. There is no reason why I don't do this every day. I just feel like maybe using it every day might get a little bit too heavy on the skin. I haven't yet experimented that. If you are one of those people that use this every day and your skin's been totally fine, leave me a comment below and maybe I'll try it. I'm just always so concerned that my skin is gonna break out, so usually things like that I tend to just use sporadically. I hope you guys found this tutorial helpful. Obviously, I have been loving the Hourglass products, and it is one of those higher end quality brands that don't test on animals, so I'm really glad to have found this range. I definitely will keep searching for a foundation that is more on the affordable side. I love this foundation, but it is very expensive. I have found that it lasts a really long time and a little bit goes a long way though. So for now, I will be sticking to this because I am very happy with how it leaves my skin looking and it doesn't make me break out. So if you guys have any questions, suggestions, anything, make sure you comment them. I hope this tutorial was helpful for you guys. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next Tuesday. Bye!